Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Madeline and I create knitting content here on YouTube. So in today's video, and the 3 videos that follow this one, I'm going to be showing you how I like to knit my socks. And the specific method I'm going to be showing you is 2 at a time, top down. So these are the exact socks I'm going to be knitting in this tutorial. I already finished them. So the videos are going to be broken up as follows. So first, in this video, I'm showing you the materials you need and how I divide up my yarn for 2 at a time socks. Then in the next video, I show you how I cast on for 2 at a time magic loop socks and basically start the ribbing down here. In the third video, I show you the heel flap, the heel turn, and then the decreases. And then lastly, in the final video, I show you the toe decreases and then the Kitchener stitch. So when you combine all those steps, you're able to create these socks. And as always, down in the description box below, you're going to find the written version of this pattern. So let me just show you real quick what the pattern is essentially. So at the top I have a 1x1 rib. Then I go into a 3x1 rib. Then we have basically like a slip stitch heel flap, a heel turn, and then down here on the base of the foot we're just working the 3x1 ribbing on the top of the foot and then just plain knit stitches on the bottom. And then lastly just traditional toe decreases. So the tricky thing here is how do you do it at 2 socks at one time? So that's mainly what these videos are about. I hope you really enjoy these videos. As always, if you're new to my channel, feel free to subscribe down below and don't forget to give this video a like if you enjoyed it. And also down in the description box below, you're going to find the full written version of this pattern and 3 sizes are included in that. So the size I show in this tutorial is the one that I personally use, and that's the medium size, which is a total of 64 stitches. Let me know if you have any questions about this pattern in the comments down below. For the additional materials, you're going to need a pair of scissors to break your yarn, 1 tapestry needle. You're going to need 2 double-pointed needles that are about the same size as the needle size you're using to knit the socks, or 1 size smaller or larger, either way is fine. You want them to be pretty close in size though to the ones you're using to cast on. And then lastly, the main needle I'm going to be using, this is a 40-inch cord, and these are size US zeros. I do use US zeros to knit my socks because I tend to knit with a pretty loose gauge, and I like my socks being knit really tight. So for most people though, I would recommend using a US 1. So in the written version of this pattern that you'll find down below, it'll say a US 1. Lastly, you'll need 4 stitch markers for when we're working on the heel, and these ones are in particular removable ones. But you can use removable or non-removable stitch markers, either ones are fine. The yarn I'm going to be using in this video is by Cat Sandwich Fibers, and I love her logo. I picked this one up at the Allentown Fiber Festival. She also does have a website, so I'll link that one down below. And this one is the Twisty Base. It is 400 yards, 80-20 blend, so it's 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. And then this colorway, didn't notice this till now, is Mermaid Toots. So I saw this one, it was so pretty. And for now I'm just going to say we need 1 skein of fingering weight yarn, and typically they have between 400 yards and about 450 whenever you have the fingering weight. So you're going to look for something in that range. And I have a size 11 women's foot, and I've never come anywhere close to using a full skein, even if I knit a pretty long, like up my leg in the cuff part. I've never come anywhere close to using the full 400 yards. The only time I have come somewhat close is knitting a pair of men's socks. But for me, this is plenty of yarn. I'll probably use about 300 yards total. I'll let you know at the end though exactly how many I ended up using. Starting off with how I wind my skeins. So of course, I just have my yarn. And then there's kind of 4 other things that you're going to need to do it if you're going to do it the same way that I do it. So first, of course, you just need a pair of scissors. That's to cut off all the ties that are on your yarn. You also need a swift. So this is my swift. It's actually, my dad made it for me. It's made out of old hardwood flooring. And then there's like a little CD and washers and things in there. I think he found how to make it online. Then I have my yarn ball winder, and this one I got off of Amazon. And then lastly, I have a scale. So I use a postal scale because that's just what I already owned. You can also use a food scale. Food scales actually probably would work better because they tend to probably be a little bit more accurate. This one has like a 5-gram range. But yeah, you'll want to have a scale and you'll want to set it to the gram measurements because most yarns are given in grams. Yeah, so this one is 100-gram skein. So now I'm going to get started winding up my yarn. The first thing I do is I actually just wind up the full skein of yarn into one ball. Then I use the scale and I divide that ball into 2 equal sized portions. And the reason I don't just divide it into 2 from the beginning is that there's no real good way to like put the swift on top of a scale and then measure half of the yarn going away. I'm sure there is some sort of way to do it, but I just found that this is the best way to do it for me. If you have any suggestions, of course, or if you have different ways you do it, please leave them in the comments down below because then we can help each other find out new ways to do this. Because it is a fairly time-consuming event, especially if you don't have a yarn swift, right? This is fingering weight yarn. That's a really big time commitment to wind it once and then wind half of it again. So yeah, any suggestions are always welcome down below. Starting off, I'm just gonna put my yarn onto the swift. Now I'm gonna wind up the full skein. Now I've finished winding up the full skein, so I'm not going to take this skein, put it on my scale, and this scale isn't the best. It messes up rounding all the time. But I'm just going to wind 50 grams off of this ball using my ball winder, and then I should have 2 with just about the same number of yards on them. Here are my 2 skeins, and now they always end up looking slightly different sizes just because of the tension, but now I'm fairly confident they're about the same, so that way I won't end up with basically too much in one skein and not enough in the other once I'm getting close to the end of the socks. So now that I have the 2, I'm all ready to cast on.